I can't imagine, man, working with that guy. I just can't imagine anybody having any kind of heat with Kurt. I mean, I swear to God, like he is the one guy, Chris, I would say that I just don't know how anybody would have any heat with that guy.
We got Carmella opening up about where she is and what she's been doing in a live stream with Bailey on Instagram. She said, I love being a mom. It's the best thing I've ever done ever in my whole entire life. That being said, of course I miss WWE. Of course I miss everyone. I miss being Carmella. I miss performing. I miss it so much. I wish I had an update for you guys. For those that don't know, I have some nerve damage in my foot from delivering Dimitri. I have what's called drop foot. It's the nerve behind your knee. It sucks. I wrestled for 10 to 12 years, never had an injury, knock on wood, and now I'm doing physical therapy, going to the chiropractor, getting MRIs, and doing all this stuff that I never thought I would be doing, but here we are. Did you know Carmella or personally or had any type of relationship with Carmella?
That was a Funkadactyl, right?
No. The Funkadactyls were Naomi and Arian Andrew.
I thought she had
Cameron,
Carmella.
Yeah.
No, I guess I wasn't too familiar with Carmella, but she's doing what's the most important job in the world, and that's being what sounds like an excellent mother. Drop foot is no joke, so hopefully she could kick out of that. I was trying to think of, I remember a couple famous athletes had drop foot.
Didn't Scott Steiner have drop foot?
Yes, and that's why he fell off the ring apron when he tried to do the double axe handle to test the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. He might have just slipped, but
No.
drop foot sucks. And well, hopefully she gets well. Is she intending on getting back in the ring? Though I wasn't quite sure if that is.
I guess from the feed, she said that she doesn't have an update because she's going through all the stuff to get the nerve together, so the neurological stuff to try to get that nerve back to work on the drop foot. So
you think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
The thing about neurological, because I've had issues with it, is it lays dormant for a while, and it may take a lot of time to reacquire it, and sometimes nerves even never fully recover. So having been there and being there, I do hope she finds her way through it, gets back in. But at the same time, Carmella, you're a mother. You don't have to rush it. The pro wrestling is going to be there when you're ready. So
True that. Vince, what were your thoughts on Carmella when she was around?
I mean, bro, they just put a lot of bad gimmicks with her. She was with Reggie for a while, and then, bro, remember they had her wearing the mask, which was a total. I'm telling you, bro, that rib came from her. One day she was probably in the makeup chair a few minutes longer than somebody wanted her to be, and they were, let's put a mask on her for the next 6 months. So I mean, they really saddled her with some really, really bad creative.
I remember Carmella now. I'm sorry. Yes, I do know. Very, very nice. Right. Very sweet. Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's all good, man. The Nova effect, EC3. You should look up on that, man. It all worked out, man. It's
Nova effect.
Nova, Nova.
Okay.
Nova effect. When you find it, check it out. So it all worked out. It all worked out for a good conversation. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Carmella goes with that. What'd you find?
Well, a concept that describes how an early success or good fortune can possibly lead to overconfidence and poor decision making and eventually failure, which is actually something I like to talk to my young proteges about, my young minions, my Exodus Pro superstars of the future. Is you don't want to peak early. I know how much of a rush you are in at, say, being 22 or 23, but rarely wrestling's weird where your high-end years aren't based on your youth and your athleticism so much as your experience and your ability to handle yourself as a human being and an individual. So don't rush, don't peak early, and it will be there. I mean, when you're 29, all right, better start thinking of plan B there, buddy. But the young guys, don't peak early. Same with high school.
Yep. And I think they started off. She was with, who was it? Cass, Enzo.
Kaz, yeah, and Enzo and Kaz,
Yeah. She was with them. She was like the Jersey girl or the New York girl, and with them. And so that made sense as far as just how, her being that, New England girl. And so I don't recall how she broke away. I think she just, I remember her going with, who was the guy? She broke off and then she won the Money in the Bank, I believe, too. One of the first women's Money in the Bank matches. And so, they gave her the reins pretty early on in her career. What was it about? What do you think Vince, Triple H, or Vince or anybody saw in Carmella early on in her career that caused her to reach such a high height? She never really matched it since the early height.
And again, bro, I think a lot of that has to do with the booking because, like you said, bro, that role they had her in was believable. Yeah. That was believable with Big Kaz and Enzo, and she had the accent and she looked the part, and that was very, very, very believable. Then it seemed like they put her in situations that were not believable.
Yeah. She started in 2013. She became SmackDown champion. She 3 years later, she debuted on SmackDown, and within 2 years, she became the SmackDown champion. Yeah. So, she peaked pretty high. I mean, pretty early with completely not being in the industry. EC3, with that being said, have you ever experienced anyone from the back? Is there any type of jealousy, or have you experienced any kind of jealousy when someone kind of peaks or get a title early in their career? Because I know that there's been like legends it's been like rumor and innuendo within backstage of legends not really being happy with certain people getting championships early on when they're like, yeah, I've been competing for 20 years and I haven't received, give us the scoop on the backstage feeling when it comes to that stuff.
I'm going to tee off Uncle Vince on this one. I'm going to set him up pretty good. But first off, you got to realize comparison is the thief of joy. Being envious over, someone else's perceived success and accolades is one thing, but it's a completely different thing when you realize at the end of the day, what you are victorious in is not necessarily talent or merit based. It's positioning. So like Vince and I, we'd often have the debate of like a title meaning something or it means nothing. And I'm in the 70% it means something to the 30% I understand, though. At the end of the day, it's a piece of business. It's a prop. It has significance, but it also has value in achieving it. I would say, dude, saying, is there jealousy in a pro wrestling locker room because of somebody else's like, is the sky blue? Last I checked, it was, with and without my glasses on. So, yeah, there's always going to be jealousy in a pro wrestling locker room. There's always going to be the, oh, well, who did he do? Or what did she do to get that push so quick? Or he's only been in the business 5 years, and when 3 of them were in developmental. Yes, that happened probably often. It probably happens to this day. It probably happens as second nature, even if it's not fully believed in when spoken. But yeah, I've definitely seen that. But at the same time, what does that title mean? It has meaning, it has merit, but it's also utilized as a prop and a piece of business, like in any story in any television show, to continually tell a story.
Yeah. Vince, did you ever see anyone give Goldberg heat or speak ill of Goldberg for having such a meteoric rise? Or Kurt Angle, for instance, another one?
They kind of had the rise when I wasn't there. You know what I mean? By the time I got there, Chris, they were both really established. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I really, I really never saw that with anybody. I mean, I saw that with Sable because she was a female, but it was because she was really a female. I really didn't see that with anybody there.
I'm trying to figure out who else, EC3, I'm sure that you could throw in some people.
I was thinking about what you said, and I think Goldberg probably had a lot more of that heat than Kurt did, because I think when Kurt came in, first off, he showed he was committed. He worked his ass off. He was in the right place at the right time with the right character. But when you watch Kurt Angle back from that initial run, you can see him continually leaning on and listening to the veterans he's working with, because he had that humility, and I think he had the respect for what he was doing, where Goldberg was perceived to not have it, that, you know, he just came in, steamrolled. And though it was best for business and he was super hot, I can see how he would have taken a lot more flack from the boys than Kurt would have.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you know, Goldberg's a monster, but you have someone else like a Brock Lesnar who had a meteoric rise, and, you know, Brock Lesnar can go backstage and say, okay, who wants to say something about me winning the world championship? And people are like, okay, good, congratulations, Brock. You know, I mean, then as soon as he gets, I can't believe it. You know,
yeah, but like, you know, and then two, I think one thing WWE did great when they're putting people in that position, they vetted them through, like the main level guys.
Yeah.
So Brock wouldn't have gotten through Hogan to get through Taker to get to The Rock in such a meteoric rise if each guy didn't say,
yeah, give him a nod. Yep. Absolutely.
I can't imagine EC3. You weren't really in the WWE when Kurt was there, were you?
No, just in his second one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I can't imagine, man, working with that guy. I just can't imagine anybody having any kind of heat with Kurt. I mean, I swear to God, like, he is the one guy, Chris, I would say that I just don't know how anybody would have any heat with that guy.
Yeah, you might have an issue with how his punches land sometimes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right.
But as far as his work ethic and what he did,
just everything, just the kind of guy he is, the pro he is, like, man, bro.
Yeah, well, I was thinking something a little different, because EC3, you were there in TNA when Kurt was there, but Kurt wasn't as stable emotionally, and, you know, because of many things. And did he receive any heat backstage in TNA? Because you worked with him on a bigger chunk in TNA.
When I got in there was his redemption. So he was back on the straight and narrow when I came in 2013.
Chris, I could tell you, man, bro, because I was there, and I was like, man, bro, when he first came to TNA, I remember sitting down with him, and I produced his very first interview. Chris, I never saw this with anybody I had ever worked with before. Bro, the whole interview, he was...
Oof. Yeah.
And it was withdrawal. He was trying to get off the stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole interview, and man, to see it, you can't imagine, that battle. Like, oh my God. But, you know, thank God, man, you know, I mean, he found his way through, because he's such a good man and good individual. And I just thank God he was saved, man.
Yes.
When I came in too, like, he was injured, then back on the straight and narrow, but you'd hear the stories of the past, and I wasn't there for them, but I can say that all the boys universally loved and respected him. And though he had his demons, they were never in the ring with him. Yeah. And everybody just wanted the best for him. Never any curse, you know, doing this. It was never like that.
Good way to put it. Yep. Well, thankfully, Kurt Angle has a redemption story, and guys just chilling, man. Just enjoying life, man, on the straight and narrow, and it's great. It's great to know that. What's that?
To get them chicken snacks, y'all.
Yeah, man. There you go.